got a minute to a minute and a half.
Wow. Just kidding.
All right. My name is Gregory McKelvey, and I don't know how to work mics. I'm a 22-year-old law student at Lewis & Clark. Some of you saw me speak at our last rally, and this time I was told I get a little longer than a minute to a minute and a half, so I can speak a little slower. Before I say anything, I must mention the tremendous burden I feel here today. Most of my peers have not had anywhere near the opportunities that I have had. I have friends that are a hell of a lot smarter than me who will never get to this stage because they do not have the same privileges as me. Most of my friends don't even have the luxury of taking the day off work to come to a political rally. This is a burden I take with me every day, and one I could not live with myself without mentioning on this stage. It's funny because I was asked to speak here today, and when I got emailed the lineup of speakers and what we would be speaking on, and for some reason it said something like Gregory McKelvey, who will be speaking on issues of racial inequality. Which for one is funny because I didn't know that until I got the email. So sorry for my speech was already written. But that's not the point of the story. The point is every one of our speakers was talking about something different. And this is ironic because Bernie Sanders keeps being painted as a single issue candidate. Right? What they're trying to do is say that this movement we are building is about one thing and one thing only: economic equality. That's why they love to call us socialists. They want to brand us into something. They want to brand us as a bunch of radicals who want to redistribute all the wealth. They want to say that we are a single issue campaign, so you know what, I'll accept it. Yes, it is a single issue campaign, and that issue is America. As opposed to big corporations, lobbyists, special interests, and super PACs, the issue of our campaign is America. And every single issue that faces America should be faced with the values of compassion, love, understanding, empathy, and a commitment that the American dream be attainable for all of us. This is what makes us exceptional. Martin Luther King said, call it democracy, call it democratic socialism, but there must be a better distribution of wealth within this country for all of God's children. He understood that all of us, black, white, Asian, Latino, Middle Eastern, gay, trans, young, old, all of us, we need equal opportunity to the American dream. They say we don't understand economics when we declare the need for free tuition to public universities. They laugh at us and say nothing is free. How come when George Bush tricked us into war, it wasn't called free war? Was that free? How about when they push tax cuts for the oil companies and bail out the big banks? What about subsidies to the oil companies? What about allowing tax loopholes for major corporations? Is that free? Do they want free stuff? What about when our planet isn't habitable for our grandchildren? What about when the sea levels rise and many of our cities are underwater? Will that be free? Why is it so outrageous for me to ask if we can spend trillions on war, why we can't spend billions on education? If we have unlimited funds for oil, why don't we have funds to save our planet? If we have the ability to cut taxes for billionaires, then why don't we have the ability to keep our people healthy? Yeah. What about health care? Why is it outrageous for me to ask for single-payer health care? Why is it outrageous for me to ask why some insurance company is benefiting off my grandmother's sickness? There is no money in good health unless we, the people, put it there. But they say we are un-American. We are un-American because we want everyone to have access to the American dream. No, I'm taking back the term American. You know what American is? When we stood up to the British Empire and said people deserve freedom. When we kicked slavery off of our shores. When we defeated the Nazis, proving that hate will not defeat us, not us. When we the people told our government we will no longer support a war in Vietnam. We will not be complicit in this. This is America. Progress is American. You You want to be tough on crime? Then you defeat the causes of crime, which is oftentimes poverty and greed. Poor people commit crimes because they have no choice, not because they are evil. They have no hope at the American dream. They have been shut out of our economic recovery. You can work 40 hours a week and still have to choose between rent and food. Now, the bankers commit crimes because there is no mechanism to stop their greed. Yet the police are patrolling my neighborhood, and they aren't patrolling Wall Street. I think it'd be a much better use of funds if every cent Donald Trump wants to spend sending federal agents to deport workers, we spend those agents to patrol Wall Street. Donald Trump wants to build a wall to keep Mexicans out of our country. I say we build a wall keeping big money out of our politics. Sandra Bland didn't crash our economy. Freddie Gray didn't send us into a recession. Michael Brown didn't send the jobs to China. Wall Street did. Why am I the one who is afraid of the police? Why not the bankers? Why not the people who are trying to ruin America? I used to think Donald Trump was entertaining and that he didn't have a chance. Then I spoke with some of my friends in the Latino community. This isn't funny or entertaining anymore. This is scary. We're supposed to be combating bullying, not electing it. Families are being threatened, and if we do not show our true character as Americans now to stand up to this hate, to stand up to a party whose front runner says that we need to bomb children and break up families, then we deserve what we get. But you know who doesn't deserve it? The children who get killed in drone strikes. The black kids who get murdered by the police. My grandchildren who might inherit an inhabitable planet. The kid in high school now who knows he can't ever afford an education at these prices. Or the child of a migrant worker who is worried they might get rounded up any day. They don't deserve that. The same burden I feel to give my peers a voice here today, we need to all feel that burden to give those people a voice. We need to stand up, and we need to do it now. We are rising up. And contrary to what some will have you believe, we aren't rising up to take your guns, force you to gay marry, or hand over your guest bedroom to a Syrian refugee. We are rising up to show that love overcomes hate, equality overcomes bigotry, freedom overcomes money, and we the people overcome the interests of corporations. Oh, but they say we are the lazy ones. We the people who build a movement from nothing. We, the people who are standing out here in Vancouver, Washington when Bernie Sanders is thousands of miles away. We the people who are funding our own campaign. We the people who don't want the handouts of super PACs or corporations. We are the lazy ones. No. It's the candidates who want to rely on the money of super PACs who are the lazy ones. It's the corporations who want free reign to exploit our economy that want the handouts, not us. You don't have to hand me anything. I'm an American citizen. The only thing you have to hand me is a ballot, and the only free thing I demand is a free country. Che Guevara said that the revolution is not an apple that falls when it is ripe. You have to make it fall. Che Guevara said the revolution is not an apple that falls when it is ripe. You have to make it fall. To everyone here today, yes, we know our values are virtuous. Yes, we know we are on the right side of history. But if we do not make that apple fall, history will never be made. Let's not stare at that ripe apple. Let's make that apple fall. As a black man, I am never in more fear of my life than when I am in the presence of the police. When I was growing up, my father, as do all parents of minority children, had to have a conversation with me about my inevitable encounters with the police. Trust me, he's no psychic, but he was right. When I got a license, my father had to explain to me what it feels like to be pulled over for driving while black and how to behave to prevent being shot. You want to talk to me about big government? Then talk to me about that. I don't want big government, I want smart government. In Texas the other day, the Republicans had a debate, and they talked about who would round up over 10 million workers first. Who would be able to get them out of their homes the fastest? How? Someone, please, ask them how. Because I know of only one way. You patrol around my neighborhood and look for people who might be deportable. Please tell me how you do this. How do you deport over 10 million people so quickly? So when those officers are patrolling my neighborhood, looking for people with skin color like me, I'm not supposed to call that big government? I don't want big government, I want smart government. You're telling me that when a woman can't make her own choices with her own body, or that I can't marry who I love, or that I can't assert that Black Lives Matter without the government stepping in, that's not big government? Oh, no. But demanding access to the American dream is big government. You're telling me that sending my peers into unnecessary wars, that bombing children in other countries, that's not big government? I don't want big government, I want smart government. If that makes me a democratic socialist, a progressive, a liberal, a radical, a Democrat, then so be it, but what I feel is human. And this is the last point I want to make today. People have given us a lot of labels, and I know we are really sick of defending ourselves, but the truth is, socialism and capitalism are not too far apart. Both agree that some things should be handled by the public, and some things should be handled by private companies. Here in America, we made the decision long ago that oftentimes, the stuff that benefits us all should be handled by all of us, we the people. Things like public parks, freeways, public schools, national parks. Other things get to be handled by private corporations. Right now, Nike makes shoes. When Bernie Sanders is president, guess who makes shoes? Nike still gets to make shoes, the private corporations. Right now, private corporations sell us goods. Guess who sells us goods when Bernie Sanders is president? Private corporations. But they act as if socialism is a whole big government takeover. I just told you what big government is. It's me walking out of my house and being afraid that the police might shoot me. That's big government, not access to the American dream. Look at it as a spectrum. On one end, we have the crazy idea that government should do absolutely nothing. Hell, that wouldn't be so bad if we were on equal footing. Right now, all Americans are born equal, but they are not born with equal opportunity. On the other hand, we have the idea that government should control literally everything. In the middle, we have socialism and capitalism. Is it any more socialist? Is it any more socialist of me to say that the money we spend? Is it any more socialist of me to say instead of tax breaks for large corporations, we should ensure every American has access to health care? Once again, it isn't big government that I want, it's smart government. They've given us a lot of labels. Some of them, such as socialism, we have adopted. But if you want to call me a single issue voter, you better be sure that you understand that that single issue is America. People undoubtedly have a fear of government. They view government as some scary entity that oversees us all. And frankly, when we allow corporations in the interests of billionaires to become our government, then that is what it is. But our government is intended to be reflective of us. That is what our founding fathers fought for, not the ability to deny a gay couple a cake. That is why we must take back what it means to be American. It is we the people. We the people. The government is supposed to reflect our interests, not corporations. I'm not going to bash any candidates. Supreme Court is too important. But next time you want to persuade a Hillary supporter to our side, you show them a list of her top 10 donors and our top 10 donors. We need to get money out of our politics. That is how we take back our government from special interests and take back our government. If the government is representative of us, we no longer have to be afraid of big government. If government becomes we the people instead of we the rich, then big government becomes synonymous with big freedom. Now, for all these reasons I said here today, I stand with Shaun King, Dr. Cornel West, and Killer Mike. I throw my support to Bernie Sanders, the next president of the United States of America. Now, thank you, Vancouver, Washington, for coming out to support the best candidate we have ever seen. This is what it takes, and I want to tell all of you guys, we need to fight hard. Rallies are not enough. Bumper stickers are not going to get this one done. Facebook posts are not going to get this one done. It takes us in the streets. It takes us signing up. It takes us us phone banking going everywhere. Everything is stacked against us. The money, the special interests, the corporations, the things that we want out of our country, we are going to need to fight because they are realizing that we are going to fight hard, and they have been fighting this whole time. So the last thing I want to tell you guys is it's not enough for us to simply wait and be content with the virtues of our values. It's not enough because progress does not happen without action. Like Che Guevara said, that apple is not going to fall unless we make it fall. So Vancouver, Washington, Portland area, Washington in general, Oregon, let's make that apple fall. Thank you. Our next speaker is David McKelvey. He's a candidate for the U.S. House of Representatives.